Why don't you just take everything from the stop sign down, just a thought, to make it R1? And then their property was 3.25, but now they'd be able to sell it and even create more residential. Could be the solution if you did that.
There's one we haven't had.
I couldn't understand, so
He's
buy somebody
recommending
else's
possibly an
property?
R1 rezone so that they could be used as building lots
Building
rather
lots.
than.
Because it was an RA1 zone. The county had an R1 zone for quite a few years as it evolved. And what happened, I can shed a little light on that, is they did a classification of the groundwater in this valley, and they classified it pristine. And once they make that classification, then came the requirement to go to 5 acre per septic. And so the zoning just followed that, because they was trying to keep the classification of the water. So that was a big push. But the health department has said from the get-go, don't put your zoning on the classification. Do your zoning for your plan. So back in the day, there wasn't all these homes, there wasn't an issue about how many septics were here. Everybody had a little farmhouse and a dog farm. So that things change. That's what we're doing. That's it's a good solution though. I like it.
Eric,
Sir.
I have one last point, and this is not going to be popular by anybody, either the commission or the public. Reality of it is, if we cannot come to an agreement on this, likelihood is that this property is going to be taken out of Daniel, and neither the planning commission nor the town council is going to be able to influence at all. It is going to happen, what it's going to be happening on the other side of the fence, and we're going to be sitting back and watching. And I think that would,
black man.
and I think that would be extremely unfortunate. I think that if there's a way that we can come together on some of these issues, it would be to the town's advantage, to the property owner's advantage, to everyone's advantage, to come together on some sort of a way to give a little satisfaction, at least, to all parties involved, instead of insisting on having 100% satisfaction and then losing everything. It's already in the works to have some of this property that we're talking about removed from Daniel, and I would hate to see that.
Okay, we try to be more user-friendly, that's why we take the comment and a little bit easier going. Is there any more, are we good on this agenda item? Okay, commission, how would you like to move from here? We need a motion to continue, a motion for recommendation.
I'll make a motion.
Okay,
I'll make a motion that we deny the zone change from RA5 to commercial. But in that, consider, and I don't know if this is the right word, Eric, help me, a conditional use permit for that property, since it's only 4 acres, that they could maybe build a home or something. I don't know if a conditional use permit is the right word.
it would
No.
be a variance.
A variance. So there you go.
Okay, so you're
Okay,
recommend,
so I recommend that we deny it from changing it from an RA5 to a commercial, and then consider other options, possibly a variance for the property, so they can do something with the property. But commercial, I make a motion that we deny the commercial rezone.
Carrie,
Sorry,
you good?
Other option, variances. Okay.
or the right word.
She runs the meeting.
I know. I know that.
Okay, I have a motion. Is there a second on that motion? Seeing none?
I'll second it.
Oh, I have a second. Is there discussion on that motion? Seeing no discussion? Okay, call for the vote. All in favor?
Aye.
Those opposed? 2 to 2 is a tie.
I'm going to abstain for personal reasons.
Okay. Tom, didn't see you.
Abstain.
We have 2, 2, and 2. That's fantastic, that's not a tie vote. But it takes 4 to pass. So the motion dies. Do we have another motion? Sorry. How we roll.
Is that for a recommendation or is it a denial?
It's a recommendation to the town council, so, yeah, this is just a recommending board. The town council will have to make that decision.
I move that we continue this to the next meeting to give us time to look at general plan and other things so that we can decide how this fits and how we move into the future.
Okay? Good. Okay, I have a motion. Is there a second on that motion?
I'll second.
Okay, I have a motion and a second. Any discussion on this motion? None? Okay, call for the vote. All in favor? Okay, those opposed?
I'm still doing abstain all the way on this.
Abstain, we did get 4 yeas. That motion will pass. We will continue this to our next meeting, and it'll show up on the agenda there. Thank you all for coming out. I love public hearings, we get to learn a lot. It's awesome. Okay. Item number 3, Highway 40 properties, zone change. Are we in continued mode?
Yes.
I
Okay.
have a question. I heard Mr. Johnston state that semis and semi-truck traffic are not welcome in the commercial zone. Have you heard that?
Did I get that?
Yeah, did you?
I did hear him say that.
I didn't know.
I'm, right now, the way my property is, it's not the continued use
Yeah,
for
so you're
that.
fine.
So I'm fine.
Okay, so we'll continue item number 3 also, which takes us to item number 4. Bangerters here tonight? Didn't see them come in.
They're on track.
Oh, they are?
Yes.
Well, it's been nice knowing them.
I know, right?
Are you here representing them?
Sure.
Without their knowledge?
Probably appreciate it.
They might, but he might.
I might answer, yeah, I don't know.
He may not want neighbors.
Right?
Did Ryan step out? Ryan Taylor?
He was here?
He was, and I see his back.
I saw it.
Can we skip over this one and move on to the planner report? While we wait for Ryan to get back, he'll have all the information on that, I believe.
The Bangalore question.
Yeah, the Bangerter.
Residential zoning permit.
Not very smart.
He might have been.
Yes.
That's right.
Okay, we'll also do the planner Okay. This is the planning report. You'd all be fairly aware of those items that are on there. A few you may not be. Same one as the council, you need them. Okay, does anybody else need a planner report? Okay. As we go down there, is there any questions on that planning report? What we get is people will call up and they're looking for the verification of what that parcel is allowed.
Was it one wet?
Yes. So we've been contacted by an engineering firm who is in the design phase of a subdivision. And so they're looking for the verification of what our code would require in RA5 zone. This is last year's total hours out of the planning office. It might interest you, it might not. Those are total hours spent
From that point on.
last year. Okay? I'd like to make you aware that you probably saw a notice in the paper for annexation of the northern properties. This map represents the northern properties. This map represents those properties. That is an island of an incorporation. And so we're looking at annexing those properties and closing that island.
This island here,
No, the properties that are, that map is the properties.
oh, this is,
That's correct. Also, you may have noticed in the paper while you was looking at the, public notices of the Bingley mass mining permit. Anybody aware of that? Mass mining permit? They're gonna increase the size, they've applied to increase the size of the pit, the Bingley pit, to 200 acres. Staker Parson has put that in with the state. It is right now open for public comment until, I think, the 28th of June. So we're nearing the end of that. If you have any concerns, you can, there's a website there that you can voice your concerns with, as that, or that permit will be granted, is the way that that public notice reads.
where, is that the pit that's over on the way to the gun club?
No,
No.
that's a county
Up
one.
Daniel Canyon on the left.
No, this one, Bingley bit.
Charleston.
Oh, the one, okay, oh, Charleston, no, all right, all right.
Yeah,
They're both expanding, I was just.
yeah, correct.
How do you spell?
Right.
This is a EPA permit that they have here. So this is a notice of intention, commence large mining operation. So if you have concerns, you need to get on and write your concerns, whatever they may be. I can think of a lot, but that's just me. So I have my letter.
So the 200 would take it all the way to 1200 south?
No, there's still more.
What's the next?
Do you have an understanding of how close they are to that boundary? And do they own it in the middle of the road, or do they own it to the road?
They will own, I'm not sure on the road, on that piece there. So that's a good question on the road piece. I was just reading the permit, and there will be other permits later on that will increase the size of this again, but this one's just asking for 200 to increase to 200 acres open pit.
What is it now?
I don't know. I didn't, it's in here, but I didn't make a note on it.
No, any of it's on the mountainside?
No, this is all on the map shows it all on flat.
acres already.
I know, it's almost that big now. It's huge.
It's pretty big, huh? Anyway, that's just for you. If you want to comment, go ahead and make you aware of that.
Eric, where do you go to comment on that?
It's in a public notice in the back of the wave.
Okay, thank
So they have the public notice there, or you can get right on the website for the, who is that? Division of Mining.
you. Okay.
It's on that website also.
Thank you.
Both those two, and they have a link on the, if you go online, it has a link right to it. You have to put your comments in there.
Thank you.
I don't know if everybody's aware of that or not. So. May impact, does impact, sorry, not may, does impact. Okay, is there any other questions on the report?
I have a question on the north boundary alignment.
Yes,
So basically, there has been a notice in the wave.
there has been.
Okay, I haven't noticed that. Is there any plans to change the zoning on the property?
Well,
If it gets, Change.
Right now, it's not in the town, there's nothing we can do about zoning. So we have to get it annexed in before we control any zoning on that property. Those properties that you're looking at, that line goes down the middle of the properties. When they created the town, those properties, the county council took a pin and drew a straight line down the property. That splits the Erickson parcel, the Coleman parcel, and I think 2 other ones are split. So they're half in the county and half in the town, which leads to a weird kind of situation because according to state law, as I read that, to annex a property, you have to annex the entire parcel. So we couldn't draw a line down the middle of somebody's property and annex half of it against the law. But when you create a town, you can do that, and they did. So, you don't know.
So, Eric, this property is what we're talking about?
Yes,
Okay.
and so that gray area actually belongs, that gray area there that is in the town,
This is us.
yes, this is one parcel, goes clear to this line. So that is all one parcel belongs to the Erickson. This one belongs to this parcel with the Coleman.
Is that,
So those properties are split in half.
Oh, wow.
That's
I don't
how,
want to be in your town.
what's
We
that?
love you.
I don't want to be in your town,
Don't want to be in your
Down
shit
there.
either.
down there. I don't want to be in Daniels down there.
Yeah, well, do we expect that? You want to be in Heber?
I'm in Wasatch County.
You are right now.
Uh-huh.
And that's why the state law says that you can annex to close those for the efficiency of the services. They don't like unincorporated islands.
Nobody takes care of me now. I just soon be Heber as I would Daniels.
Well, that's the 2 options. Unfortunately, I met with Heber.
have you spoken with the neighbors, Scott? Do you know what the neighbors would rather be, Daniel or Heber?
Nope.
I think that's something we need to find out, Eric, before
Well,
we proceed.
Somebody ought to tell him he already is in Daniel.
Oh, I knew we were. Didn't ask to be.
Well,
Half of his
no,
property already is in Daniel.
No,
well,
I get that.
Yeah.
I'm
Just
talking
a-
about the
the
part that's
truck
up for
property.
question right now.
but
No.
we're,
No.
So basically,
Right, so it's a different process that we do if there's a petition, and it's different if there's no petition. And so we took no petition, and we're working through that state law on that. That's why there's 30 days and then the public hearing. So we'll go through the same thing with the public hearing on that part, those parcels. So when I talk to Heber City, the planner tells me they have no way to service this. They're at capacity with the sewer. They can't service it. So I thought we could come up with just a boundary line agreement.
Is that the status of it? They're saying on these 3 properties that they cannot service it?
Yeah, that they cannot service it. They're at
So
capacity.
they have made that determination already.
That's what the planner told me. So I don't know, I did talk to engineering, but that,
Does that affect your position, Scott? Does that matter to you?
I don't know.
I find it hard to believe.
how long have you talked about this? I've missed a couple meetings, so I don't know.
It's been a couple of meetings. It's been, what, 2 months?
So you want to re-annex some of our property into Daniels?
That's what the move is.
Why? I mean, why is the purpose? Why can't we have it the
to
way it was?
eliminate them islands. That's what the law is set up for. You can't have unincorporated areas in the middle of an island. They also don't let you do peninsulas. So the law set up to close those. And so that's what we're doing, is closing those. It's an efficiency of service. Right now, the county had to go back on your parcel, draw a line, give it a new number, so you have 2 tax notices. So they've had to divide your property in a sense, just by the tax notices. It's a duplication of services. And our goal is to make that efficient, and that's what government role is, to make it efficient.
You want my tax dollars.
Either way.
Yeah,
Is that what,
Is
is that why you want my property?
I don't think we're after your tax dollar. I bet your taxes on that property is pretty darn low.
yeah.
I mean, I don't know what we'll do with this, what, $30?
But is it are you annexing the property down by those new homes? Or what piece of property?
No, we're looking at the Erickson piece that abuts yours. That same line goes all the way down. So
Oh, you're talking down where we live?
No, the truck.
No,
At the
the
shop.
truck.
The
Right.
shop.
On the shop.
Yeah, So the backfill behind your shop
Right.
going directly west.
Right.
That fence line goes all the way down through the Erickson property. They did the same thing.
Um,
Yeah, I don't know if I have an extra one. Yeah, there's one.
You
Good.
Oh, there's an
Special glasses.
There we go.
Thank you.
So that's the properties we're looking at, and those are split in half.
You've already did that.
No, we haven't done that. The county did that when they made the town. We're fixing that. We're attempting to fix that. We're moving that direction.
So the county is not gonna let it just stay county?
Right, the law is set up to eliminate those
So
items.
the county's gonna say, you guys, one of you guys,
Right, right. Yeah, and the county's the one that will be, that's who you get it from, is the county. It moves into the municipality.
Heber could annex the ones that are not split, but the ones that are split, Heber can't do anything with it because have property in another municipality.
Yeah. So it's kind of a,
But
That's
Heber does not want the property. They
Uh,
can't service it.
they can't service it according to the plan. So I met with them. I also met with a couple of county council. Just, what are we gonna do with this? Because it becomes.
so
an
these
issue.
guys would have to petition Heber if they wanted to be Heber instead of Daniel? Is that their process, or is it?
Yeah, if they wanted to annex into Heber, they would get a petition to annex into Heber City.
But they also have to disconnect the other part of the parcel from Daniel.
See, that's the problem. They're already in the town of Daniel.
So they'd have to take their whole parcel?
You disconnect from the town of Daniel and then go back into county and then be annexed into another municipality.
Sounds expensive.
And lately, I mean,
Not gonna be done
Should be able to do that in 2 or 3 years.
oh,
I've said this before, I'm gonna repeat it for those in the town council, the mayor and so forth. And my position is exactly the same, is I think we ought to be respectful of what the property owners want instead of just grabbing and annexing. And if, I mean, we've got 33 1/3% represented here tonight, they say they don't wanna do it. I think we need to be very careful about what we do.
okay.
And that's why there will be a public hearing.
Yeah, and I think to discuss it, there may be some advantages to it, there may not. This is the first they've heard about it, so I don't have a chance to
Yeah,
look at it and.
I don't appreciate you just going and talking about my property to the county, or to the Heber City.
I wish you would have come to us and maybe
You
told
know.
us about it. I mean, this is a shock. We never knew anything about this. We came just to listen to,
Yeah, if you guys would have wanted it, you would have shown up with a petition.
exactly.
Right.
If we'd have known about it.
Well, I'm not saying that you would have shown
Yeah,
up with a petition,
right.
but this is the process without a petition.
Right.
This is what the law allows, that's what we're doing. Yeah, Rob,
Are you also looking at changing the zoning on that property?
there's really no reason to talk about the zoning because we don't control the zoning on that property right now.
On either side?
On our side, we do. So those people that you see the houses are built on,
Right.
the planning commission has the authority to tell them what the use is on that parcel. So you went and bought 5 acres and the back half is industrial versus RA5 in the front. The planning commission tells them what the use is. You want to build a house on it? It's clearly RA zone. You're doing it residential agricultural. That's the use on the entire parcel. That's the planning commission's job on those parcels that are split zoning. You can't have 2 zones on the same parcel. You can have an overlay zone, but you can't have 2 zones. So Heber City does that a lot. You see an overlay zone, which allows cottages plus businesses or something. It's an overlay zone they use. We haven't got that complicated here yet.
Well, I'm already confused and it's all, it doesn't take much to get too complicated for me.
It's confusing. I mean, the code book's that thick. So, yes.
So you're telling me if you annex me into Daniels, that industrial property of mine, because it has a residential on the front half of it, is no longer industrial?
I'm not telling you that.
That's what you just said.
The planning commission has the authority to tell you what the use is on that property.
What if,
Even though we bought it as industrial?
Oh, absolutely. You can have property and it can be zoned one thing and the town board decides that that zoning is not allowed in the town anymore, that in effect is not where the town is going. they'll rezone that property. How do you think your property ever got zoned industrial? You never petitioned.
No, I bought it as industrial.
Industrial, so.
Right.
I bought it
yeah.
to be
The
in
county
compliance
council drew a
with
line,
you
changed the
people
zone.
that hate trucks.
Yeah, that's why we bought it, is
We
because
bought
we couldn't put
that
our
because
truck
I
there.
had 5 acres behind my house, and our little township here decided I couldn't build a shop there,
So we bought that down there because it was industrial,
to build a shop.
you know.
Well, I know you're not gonna really think about this, but I've been on the planning commission since 2000. Your
Right.
shop came in front of the Daniel Town Planning Commission,
Right,
which wasn't the planning commission, it was a township recommendation to the county.
right,
So we knew all about your shop before it was built. We was there for the tank, the fire flow.
right. we
All
know
those
that.
issues we was involved with, so
Right.
to not, I mean, we are in it.
Right.
So you know it's industrial property.
I don't know that.
You just told me you did.
I'm telling you that there's a line drawn down
It
there.
is.
Right now, your property that is in the town of Daniel, this board has the authority to tell you what the use is on that property.
I guess I better go get started making a gravel pit in there. I'll show you what. Who's gonna do all of that?
So
Well,
what does,
there's a process for that too.
what does the law state as far as if it's been being used for a number of years? Is there a certain criteria
Well-
for them to be grandfathered or continue used or?
Well, and this is really in your case also. What
That's why I'm
happens?
curious.
Yes.
Well, it's true, because what happens is the use gets, I shouldn't use the trucking outfit as a, let's use home care. Somebody has an outbuilding out there that they're doing daycare in. That has never been a legal use in the county, ever, has that been allowed. So all of a sudden now here we are 15, 20 years later, somebody has a use out in their outbuilding for daycare. Well, I've been doing that, I'm grandfathered in. You're not, it was never legally created. That's the key.
So what's the
At the
difference with
time-
our continued use? Because that was legally created.
It was legal
correct?
at the time, and when we met with the attorneys, that was established. It was legal at the time. They showed a continued use. That's in a 365-day period, that use has to continue. If it's gone for 2 years, that use goes away.
Okay.
So it's complicated on that end, and the lawyers are involved. And even when it is grandfathered in, the town is under no obligation to honor that.
It just seems scary to me that somebody can put all of their life savings into something. They
And now it's
obviously
worth
had
nothing.
things done
I mean,
correctly.
Just like Mark's property up there has been a trucking company for at least 50 years.
Forever.
At least 50 years. I played in
At
that
least.
shop when I was 10 years old or younger. There's been trucks there continually driving off that highway for 50 years, and now they can't drive? That's stupid. That is stupid.
Well, again, I don't think the commission said he couldn't do that. I think you
No,
heard that from
it
some
was
public
an
comment.
audience member.
So that's the commission and the council's job, is to go through those
I
and
know.
pick out what is fact.
We just
what is
gotta
relevant.
find a peaceful way to solve our problems. We all live here in this beautiful valley, and I can't believe that we're even having to, I mean, you spend all your hard-earned money and your life buying ground, and then people turn around and tell you what you can and can't do, and it's hard. We all need to come together.
Well, and Scott, one of the things I see is, here you have a voice. You come here and you talk to friends and neighbors and you have a voice here. Try going before Heber City and telling them, because if
Right.
they tell you your property is something.
Even
different,
having this conversation
Right.
in Heber
in
City is
Heber
not.
City.
But
You
I'm
know,
in
so
good
think
county.
about that, because that, then you're dealing with a whole different situation. And Eric is saying, you know, we could do that. He's not saying we're going to.
Going
do
to,
that.
exactly.
We're not
Brian Fenton,
going
big
to
one.
do that.
Right.
There's no advantage to the town, there's no reason to do that, there's no petition to do that.
It's just
There's
he's
no-
saying that's what we could do,
That
but
could happen.
not, right.
But that's not just, it's not that it could just happen in Daniel. It could happen to anybody, anywhere, that's the law. And you see that happening. I mean,
And-
if Brett
and you
Waterman
just
were here,
don't
he could tell you that it
understand that.
happened to him down in South Georgia.
I mean, we
It
had
just got
7
zoned
acres
out.
that we could have built it there, and we had to go buy industrial ground, and it just sucks now that you annex it into something that's not even valuable, you know, that's heart-wrenching, you know?
And that's
And I don't-
exactly, like I said, that's how that zoning became about. The Wasatch County Commissioners drew the line and said this, we're gonna make this industrial.
Yeah.
That's how it was made industrial.
And so then when those new homes just got built, that's, so our ground right there that butts it, that's what you're talking about?
Yep, and down to the Erickson piece below that.
Who's Mr. Erickson?
Lives in Waldenburg.
Kind
So,
of the antique and
Antique show that
equipment
they
show.
do.
Oh, okay.
He owns the old barn right
And
on
they own-
3000
okay.
south, it goes back and
Okay.
then up behind.
Yeah, all right. Yeah, I think we all just need to stay and it just be in it together, you guys, because this is not good. We're not getting any solutions.
Well, I mean, there's also been talk, and I know it's been brought up by some of the planning commission members, that this may be an industrial zone that's a buffer between the residential zones right through this area. Again, until it's in the town, we don't control it. We don't have a say in it. It's whatever. I mean, you don't even have access to that property. It's, in a sense, it's worthless right now. You have no access to that property.
Sure,
Yeah, we do. Just go through the
there's no
field.
fence through it.
There's not a fence.
You have access, you have as a use right now through a residential zone. If you was to increase that use, you would be outside of your grandfathered use, and it would all be taken away, or could all be taken away, if you increase that.
Increase what?
Traffic through a residential zone into your industrial, it's not allowed by code. I can just tell you that, it's not allowed in the county code, it wasn't allowed then. You cannot access an industrial through a residential zone, for all the reasons you heard tonight.
How about through Heber City?
How about through Heber City?
What's the difference between me and Dickens?
Nothing.
Not a thing.
Not
If
one.
that isn't industrial, I don't know what it is.
I think there's a big difference between you and Higgin. Matter of fact, if you ask the residents who live around there, they think there's a big difference between you and Higgin.
What is it?
But I'm saying, property-wise, front half of that's in residential too, isn't it?
It is.
So
are
they're
they
driving right
accessing
through it.
They're driving through it to their industrial property.
Again, it was done in the county.
And mine's in the county.
It was.
It
It
is.
is.
No, back is. The front is in a residential zone in the town of Daniel. You have no access to Daniel Road without coming through the town of Daniel.
I'm not in Daniels. That property on the front is in Wasatch County.
Wasatch County.
It isn't, then why don't you guys push my damn snow?
It stops. Nobody
Nobody will
claims this
push that
right there.
piece of road there because nobody claims it.
Right. So we got the county and Heber City, everybody raises their
And
blades.
Daniels, and everybody
skip
pops their
across.
plow
They
up.
do.
Right.
So I
They
push the
do.
damn snow myself.
Yep, happens all the time. That's exactly what we're talking about, the overlapping of services. Heber's not gonna do it, we're not gonna do it. That's exactly what they're closing, that's what it's all about.
So Eric, am I understanding this correctly, that they kind of have a choice in this, or they have no choice in this of to which entity they go to?
Oh, yeah, this is just the start of this. We've set
Right.
a public hearing. We're going through the motions of, do we even want this property? I'm not saying they even want it, does the town want it? Why, what are we looking at?
So before they made their decision, would they be privy to kind of a plan that Daniel would have for it, or a vision that Daniel would want? I mean, because that would affect their decision, I'm sure.
Well, the problem is, it's just like these applications we have for a zone change. Everybody wants to know what we're building. Well, we don't have the zone. And so until it's in the town, there's no plan.
We made that mistake of trying to be very transparent, yeah.
Right, yeah.
But I thought that was the best way.
Yeah.
Apparently not.
Well, and it goes both ways. So, sorry.
I'm just curious, Eric, where the original impetus for this momentum has come from. Where did the spark for this come from originally? Was it town council? Was it planning commission? Was it Heber City? Was it, where did it?
Right here on the planning commission was a recommendation to look at finishing those properties off when 3 farms was approved here at the planning commission. It went to a recommendation to the city council. They have not taken action on it until the houses are built. We're here. Now we're here.
How long ago was that?
a year.
I'd be lying if I said I knew.
Ballpark.
1 or 2 years.
Yeah, well,
Closer to 2 than
I
1.
believe it was in 14.
Okay,
The original three farms recommendation?
Yeah.
I think it was 2014.
14.
so quite a while back then?
Yes,
Okay.
we've drug our feet.
I didn't know, I just am asking.
So-
No challenge to it at all, I'm just asking.
Yeah, it's just, that's what I'm saying, I can find you the paperwork,
No,
but
it's
I don't
okay.
have it in front of me.
So it's really a problem if, you know, say Coleman's want to do something with the property, it's half in Daniel, half in the county. You gotta get the county and Daniel to work together. It's in one zone, it's in another zone. And if we can do this right, I think we can make it better for them. You know, you need to look at it and make sure it's better for you, but I think that's the intent,
Yeah.
is to try and make things.
We need to know what your plan is.
Yeah, I
What's
mean,
your plan?
we don't know yet. We
It's
just,
your
we
property.
know,
I plan on farming it until I die.
you know, but
I
God,
hate all this growth. If you don't want something to come, you go
Just-
buy the
yeah,
dirt,
just
if you
buy
can.
it.
If you don't want it, you go buy it. If Stephanie don't want him to do that,
she
she
better
should go
buy
buy it. I think Mr. Armstrong ought to be able to do any damn thing he wants with it because he owns it. And he's got a right of way off the highway to it. I think everybody would be good. I don't know what Stephanie's problem is, but a landowner buys that ground for a reason, not just a habit. If you want to stop growth, you go buy it and do what you want with it.
Yeah, and we talk about this a lot, because the property right versus property right to your neighbor. That's what this board's doing, that's what the town council's doing. Does it affect their ability to enjoy their property?
Mhm.
How does it affect you enjoying your property?
Mhm.
I'm a prime example. I bought my
Right.
house, I was gonna stay. Guess what the airport's doing?
They're kicking you out.
That's right.
I know.
that's not right.
Eminent domain.
No, it's
They're
not
not
right.
changing my
Not
zoning.
right at all.
No, it's
I
not
don't
right.
care if they change my zoning, but they're taking it, so.
And Scott, in today's world, that's not the process anymore. Because you buy it and own the dirt does not mean that you're gonna control it.
No.
Legislatively, a lot of times control is exerted where
You can,
Just because you own
can
it.
either give us an easement or we'll just condemn it and take it. They've already done that.
and that's unfortunate, but that's today's political environment.
It's been that way for a long time.
That's wrong.
We the people.
So, I think exactly, all those points you bring up is exactly right. You can go into Heber City and
I'll have to go talk to them.
have a great time down there. So, you won't be received like this board receives you.
So are we gonna go to the regular discussion?
Okay, so I think we got, no, we have, Mr. Lindahl's here today. Ryan, do you want to introduce that? So this would be an administrative thing, but we thought you guys would like to see this. Butler's here. Go ahead. Okay.
Sorry for stepping out earlier. Trying to juggle multiple things. So I'll have Dave come up in just a second. So this is what would normally be a simple administrative permit. He's looking to put electrical and plumbing in the barn. What he's proposed is a full bathroom in his barn. And because of some of the issues we've had in the past, Eric and I decided that that would be a good one for you to give us guidance on.
Is this Lindahl?
No.
One below that, further west.
It's the other Lindahl, I'm the son. I'm Blaine and Joy's son.
So if you want to come up, I'll let you explain.
Richard, your neighbor has the Longhorns, that's what she asked us, it's a Longhorn.
Oh, yeah, and we
Yeah.
share the pasture back and forth,
Right.
put a gate in.
Yeah, that's
so
what
we
she
don't-
asked us, it's a Longhorn.
So we're on Southfield Road.
Come on up.
Yeah, I'll just, all we're,
So you know, we've had some.
I think we have one question. Have we gone out of the planning report to something else?
No, this is part of the planning report.
Okay.
This permit could have been handled administratively. We chose to bring that in front of the commission so that they're aware of it.
Okay, so
David
Lindahl.
yeah.
They just fixed this patch.
Yeah, exactly. So Lindahl's gonna probably be
So what was this?
Yeah, all we're trying to do with the barn is have it for overflow when we have our whole family up here. So that's why we want to put another full bathroom in there. We've got 4 kids, they're all married, we've got 12 grandkids, and that's all we're trying to accomplish.
So you're looking for living quarters in your barn?
Well, for about 2 weeks out of the year, probably once a week at Christmas and once in the summer.
But then it's defined as a separate residence, 2 residences.
Yeah, I'm not trying to, all I'm trying to do is put a barn in it, I'm not trying to zone it as residential or anything like that. We're just trying to put a full bathroom in there, that's all we're trying to do, we're not putting a kitchen in or anything like that.
So this permit's for electrical and plumbing is what the application.
Yeah. Yeah, we're still not trying to make it residential like anybody else goes out and sleeps in a barn once in a while. That's all we're trying to do with our grandkids once in a while.
The Nag barn doesn't have electrical and plumbing in it.
And doesn't this have a big chandelier in it already?
A what?
A big chandelier hanging in it already? That doesn't have electrical?
You know, let me tell you what happened initially. I'll give you our story real quick. It'll be really quick. We got the guy to build a barn. I found out recently he had some run-ins with you guys, and so he was afraid to grab his own shadow. I don't know why, but he was. I'm just being upfront. So he initially said, let's just get it through without the electrical for right now for the ag barn. Let's just do that. Let me get started. Let me get going. Okay. I went and met with Ryan. Should I give him the whole story, Ryan? Sure. I signed a piece of paper saying we wouldn't do any electrical or anything until we got it, pulled a permit. We were almost done with the project. The guy calls me and he says, and this is where I found out a little bit more about him and got to know him better. I think he and Ryan's had some dealings with him where he tries to sneak things through, and I don't do things that way. So about, 4 or 5 weeks ago? Something like that, was it, Ryan?
Yeah.
Anyway,
First time.
my wife and I said, let's get the bathroom in the barn. Let's get it in, we'll use it when the kids are out playing, this and that. If they sleep over in it, there's a bathroom out there. I called the guy to ask him a question about the barn. I hadn't talked to him since, we finished probably a year ago, something like that. And I don't know why, but something came to me because as I got to know more through the bill, I found he likes to try to sneak through things. So I'm just being totally upfront. Probably shooting myself in the foot telling you this, but anyway.
Honesty's the best.
So anyway, I said, hey, by the way, we're getting ready to submit the plumbing. You got the electrical permit, right? He says, no. He says, I think the electrician was going to go. Well, I knew he was going to do it. I called the electrician just out of courtesy. Said, hey, you pull. He said, no, I didn't pull it. He was acting as the guy. So anyway, I immediately went down and talked to Ryan. Oh, well, you weren't there, and I talked to Kim at the place and said, Kim, this is what happened. The electrical's already in. It's done. What do I do? She said, I don't think it'll be a big deal. So we're just trying to go through the right process now. The only thing we'd like to add is put a bathroom. The kids are out there. We've got these little things they play with in the wintertime on the snowmobiles when we have a winter with more snow than we did this year. Last year we had more snow. I mean, we've been coming up here since 1988. My kids have spent 3 Christmases in California. The rest have all been here. And we're trying to create the same thing that my parents, some of you know my parents, I think, that they did for us with our kids growing up. All we're trying to do is I'm not trying to make it a residential situation out there, but I guess if the bathroom makes it, and you tell me no, I guess that's the end of the question. I didn't come to fight with anybody, I'm just trying to rectify the electrical and see if it's okay if we put a bathroom in. That's really all we're trying to do. So, any questions on that?
So to clarify, part of the reason we're here is the bathroom. The electrical, the story gives you a lot of background. The electrical we can fix. We can get the permit, we can do the inspection, as long as it'll either pass or not pass. If it doesn't pass, we make it
So what does that
right.
do to it being built under an ag permit?
Well, the ag permit, we can have electrical and we can have plumbing in an ag building, but we have to do the inspections. So what happened here is it got built without the inspection. He's come in we can make that right administratively.
By the way, we did
electrically.
get caught, I came too fast.
So is this the same guy that built the barn where the Longhorns are?
Yeah.
Yeah, so there you go, and I didn't know,
Oh, well.
I saw you shake your head, that's what I'm finding out now.
So anyhow.
And so you all dealt with that.
Yeah.
We
He
can
built
fix the
a great
electrical.
barn, I will say that, but he doesn't do things the way the rest of us
He
do
causes the
things.
owner's headaches.
Yeah.
This is a headache, but, you know.
So we can fix the electrical administratively, whether it was done in the right order or the wrong order, we can do an inspection. If there's a problem, we'll make it, you know, it can be made right. And so the electrical is not, I think we can handle the electrical administratively, it's the bathroom. I know we've had a lot of issues with a lot of those discussions, and that's why, talking with Eric, we wanted the full bathroom to come to you
If
guys
they're easy
to make the call.
decisions, me and Ryan make them. If there are,
And more. So full bathroom, you're talking shower.
We want to put a shower and a toilet in, yeah.
And it would hook into your septic system?
Well, we had them run, because it's quite a long ways to it, we could hook it into the current septic system, but we had them, the county department, Todd Wall submitted something to put another one out in the pasture.
okay.
Just because it's a long ways to the one in the front of the house to
So
run it.
it's a
So
second septic.
it's about the same cost as, we could run it through there, because it's not gonna get used, 2 weeks out of the year at the most.
What is your address, your exact?
We're 3150, we're right next door to Rex.
Okay, the number.
3115 Southfield Road.
Southfield?
Uh-huh. Or 1200, depends on who you're getting mail from, right?
How long you lived here?
Or 3000, 1250 west, or whatever it is, but.
And you say you live there permanently right now?
No, we don't. We spend about a week to 10 days up here every month.
Okay. Any other questions for the applicant? Okay, let's fix it.
All right.
So
Okay.
what's you two's feelings as far as allowing it or disallowing it?
Oh, this is an allowed use. In fact, if you get over a square footage on an ag building and you're so far from a house, you're required to put a bathroom in, according to our code. So if it's over so many feet from the house, you're required, if it's over so many square feet, to put a bathroom in an ag building. So we have a few of those in
It's
the
probably the kitchen that would push it.
the kitchen. Another thing that he didn't mention that probably will come into play on this certain bathroom is he owns 10 acres. He owns 2 lots.
So he's gonna put a septic
So,
on the other 5 acres?
Again, you have one septic on 5 and you may have another septic on the other 5. So it could be tied to the other lot and still fall within the code of 1 septic per 5 acres.
Yeah, we bought the lot on the corner because we wanted to just leave it that way, like the guy said earlier. That's gonna be pasture till I'm dead, so hopefully I'm gonna live a while, so.
Us too.
This
Okay.
Mr. Lundell, would he be aware that if he used his 10 acres and put the barn as a lot, and his house as a lot, he doesn't have another lot?
Yeah.
Is he aware of that?
Well, I'm not saying the lot is not, I'm saying the septic requirement is met. The lot requirement would be something different.
Okay, let's say that he put a kitchen in the barn.
As soon as you make the determination that that's a residence and it's no longer an ag building, then we're back to the same thing we was on the other barn. We're changing everything into a resident, all the codes change,
And you'd have to change the legal description to get the 2 lots.
no, the lot remains the same.
I think I would have had to build a barn on the other lot, wouldn't I?
Yeah, you could,
Which I didn't want to. I think
Right,
somebody
but
mentioned
you
that,
could
but I
adjust,
didn't.
yeah.
I wanted to leave that.
he could adjust those
Clean up
and put it on the
right
other
away,
lot, the lot line. I
Just
mean,
put the
it's-
lots the other way.
Yeah, he could make it on another lot. It's just like the other barn. The other barn is a residence, but there's still a lot there that he could build on next door, up at Richards. So he's kept everything on one. So this is easily doable. We just wanted the planning commission to be on board. This is how we're gonna fix it. We're gonna pull the permit. We're gonna go in. I'm assuming that you know that if there's some problems, they'll just, okay? So he's on board to be brought up to code for what we need. If our inspector goes in, we assume some liability, so we'll want everything to be up to code. He's aware of that. He's sorry.
Well, that helps.
I didn't,
I'll make a note.
I didn't want to be the enemy here at all, so.
So we're on your side, Joe, we're not the enemy, okay. So we're here to fix this,
Okay.
okay? So how would you like to proceed? You want us to issue this permit for the bathroom? Do you want to see any additional
Any additional?
information?
He's functioning within code, and you're satisfied that he's
He
functioning
will be
within
functioning
code?
within
Once
code.
he
Yes. He intends to be in full compliance.
Well, I'll take a shot at it there.
Okay,
I would make a motion that based on your recommendations and Ryan's recommendations and meeting code requirements, that we proceed forward and recommend an approval.
okay, issue the permit,
Yes.
okay? Have a motion, is there a second?
Second.
Okay, I have a motion and a second. Okay, all right. Any discussion on the motion? Seeing none? Call for the vote, all in favor? Any opposed? Got it.
Thank you.
Okay,
Good job.
be issuing that permit. Now, quickly, before we go off of that, is there another way we could have fixed that? Did you play with that? Something to think about. Okay, do you want this back? Issue that permit? Okay. All right, let's jump back up, if that's enough from the planner. I think that's
I was curious on one thing on there.
it. Okay,
What's the Smith property business class of sexual nature reported?
so what?
They're on the way to give up the gun law.
Oh,
Under complaints.
what happened was, I received a complaint about, and I should have brought the email so I could just read it to you. Anyway, there's a self-awareness class being held. It is licensed in the town of Heber City, and it's held at remote sites. And so there was word that one was being held on Big Hollow Road. And so it was coming up pretty soon, so I just put it on there because I wanted to ask the council how they wanted me to investigate that.
So,
Any volunteers? Kim volunteered
I
at the meeting.
missed some of the details over some paper trails.
Sorry, my fault.
You volunteer?
So there was some kind of a license issued? through
There is
the
a
city?
license issued, the website, after investigating on the web. On the web I investigated, there's no transfer of bodily fluids, it meets the criteria of not an SOB, sexually oriented business. So it falls short of that, it's more therapy and also with the religious. So for the town to get involved, we need to see traffic problems or something that's a violation of our code. And so that's what we don't have at this point. So unless traffic becomes an issue or loud music or something that will trigger a complaint, the town wouldn't be involved at this point. You'd have to pick up on that or not. Okay, moving up to Kip and Wendy Bangeter. Item number 4, residential building permit.
So why are we looking at it? Why wasn't it just,
All new permits come before.
okay. So there's no red flags?
Set of plans.
He might have some engineering.
You said one.
Stuff.
It's been a crazy day, but I didn't think it was that crazy.
Do we have a site plan?
No, we don't.
Well, then we're probably
Sun's
wasting our
going
time.
down.
I
Yeah,
know.
for me. Yeah, so, but they did turn it in time for a meeting here, all stapled together. I'm sure I meant to staple something else, like I said, it's been kind of a crazy day. This is our plan review. It's actually a very complete set of plans, code and structural. All found nothing wrong with the floor plans or the structural calculations. The one thing we are missing is the one thing that we all look at as the planning commission is the site plan. And so in the letter, you'll see,
Yeah.
maybe we'll let that remain. Everybody raise their hand. No problem. I'm sorry.
And I looked at the pictures of my.
If 3 minutes people together, it's 3 minutes, I go to sleep, no matter where I'm at. If it's here, I'm going to sleep here.
Yeah, so we have comments on our, you know, the site plan is a major deficiency, so clearly we need to get a site plan. Beyond that, it's actually in fairly good shape. In fact, you know, the structural review, the code reviews, health department, and fire, health department's okay except for the site plan, not having a site plan, and fire's okay except for not having a site plan. So everything relates back to the site plan. So
Which could throw it all out.
the question, yeah, and so the question I have tonight is, can we proceed, you know, so in the past, we've made the recommendation that once we have a complete set of plans, we can proceed administratively, or we can bring it back next month, because we don't have a site plan.
You know, I'm perfectly fine with structural stuff and things that we kind of look at, but we're not the experts. But without a site plan, that's really what we look at and
Yeah.
why we look at it. And so I guess my opinion is without a site plan, we really can't do anything.
I would make a motion that we have to continue this until next month, because we need a site.
And we site plan, I'm good with that. But that was, they met the deadline to be on this agenda, so
So
we
did they?
got it reviewed and we're on the agenda. So I have copies of all that. Okay, that was quick. I don't know.
Yeah, we'll have to push that motion through.
I saw head nods, but I guess that probably doesn't count, does it?
You want to talk to me about any water in regards to that structure? You know,
To what?
as far as to that, what we're talking, I think the building portion for him, anything with regards to water lines for the road, in regards to that issue, getting water to that house, or,
Has there been any?
there might need,
Would be the Southfield Road one,
yeah, so.
Do we want to talk about that now, or another time?
Sure.
Southfield Road.
So including in this, we're talking about the water line being extended down Southfield Road to service this residence. So we put out, it went out for bid, water line extension. So I think that ends actually down at your house.
I think so, yeah.
It ends in front of David's house, and then so we're looking at extending that down. Mr. Neff has shown some interest. We've met with him. He's willing to put his money that would be going towards the well into that fund, which is roughly $30,000.
Council doing that. Did they approve it?
No, we haven't done anything. We don't do anything till
Don't you only
planning
have
tells us.
30 days?
Well, it's on next month's agenda, which is in a few weeks to rediscuss it. Nothing's been approved for that water line yet.
Does that contractor go away?
No, so I talked to the contractor, I met him Friday, I think, and we walked it to look at the new fence that has gone up, and then just, I do this before we award anything, kind of do the walk, you know, tell me what you left out, tell me any changes, tell me any surprises, because this way, when we get to the change order at the end of the meeting, I want to remind you that we did this walkthrough and we had this conversation. And so we did that Friday, and it's being blue stake now, so the blue stake should be valid, the gas line should have been marked today, I haven't been back out there to see the gas line yet. We were gonna make sure that all the utilities were where the plan said they were, because that doesn't always work like we want it to. And once that was done, he was willing to say everything was good. I did ask him for some costs on if we wanted to put fencing back up, because there are some fences in the right of way that we can't, we either have to go into the asphalt or into the fence. And so I asked him for a cost so that the council could consider a change order for fencing. So I'm waiting on those, I'm waiting on the gas line, which should be done, and the cost on fencing.
They get the irrigation line marked. There's a 10-inch line that goes across that road.
Of course they didn't. They don't
And if you
participate.
guys cut that, I'm gonna be.
But they know where it is because they just had it dug up.
So
They just
that's
got an
good.
excavation permit.
hole, by the
So we had a long talk about the 10-inch line, but no, it's not marked.
Yeah, so they just replaced the valve there and they actually pulled the excavation permit out there.
Because the water company cut that in front of my house too, saying they didn't know about it. But they did.
We may forget, but right now we know.
Okay, I'm
Okay.
reminding you.
Rex has a comment?
Yeah, I want to talk a little bit about where that water line goes.
Come on up here, lean on that thing.
I'm good here.
But watch this side, it kind of, it wobbles.
I'm good from here.
Okay, go ahead.
So the water line right now is on Dave's property.
I'm sorry, just 1 second, Rex, did you give Rex Reader?
Yeah, Rex.
Okay, all right, just making sure we get you in a minute, okay.
Okay. So it's on Dave's property, and the proposal right now from Blue Stakes that I'm seeing is to come through our property and his property